So these last few weeks in Grand Summoners has been quite crazy. I was gone on a vacation, I came back to War God Finn, Overlord came out to Global, and while all this was happening, the Fate crossover was ongoing in JP, which is the crossover I'm a little bit excited for. And a lot of people were telling me, hey, yo, P, you should go check out the new units. And whenever I saw them, I was like, wow, these guys kind of strong. And if you haven't heard about them, oh, trust me, you're going to know about them by the end of this video because I'm about to preach you the gospel. So we have Miyu, Shirou, my goat, Chloe, and the one and only Salter, or Saber Alter. So let's talk about my GOAT first, Shirou. Man, this was a character that I was scared for, boys. I was hoping to God that Grand Summoners did this massive justice. I didn't want him to be trash, because looking at his artwork, I was nervous. You know what I'm saying? I saw this artwork and I said, man, he could be trash. He looks like he's just supposed to be a luck unit. But this guy, he's changing the meta, ladies and gentlemen. You know, if you know about Archer, Shirou Emiya, you know, all that type of stuff, you know there's one thing that he is very known for. You know, the whole unlimited blade works thing. And thankfully, they gave him that. Shirou is able to change the field into unlimited blade works with his super art. Which, what does this exactly mean for him or for the game, or what exactly does he do? Well, whenever he's in unlimited blade works, he deals 10,000 damage to enemies, every enemy on the field, every 8 seconds. He will increase his own paralysis and freeze resist by 100%, and he increases all allies' damage res by 30%. Mind you, unlimited blade works lasts for 180 seconds, but this isn't it, ladies and gentlemen. He has a bunch of other stuff in his kit that complements him being in unlimited blade works. His skill becomes a 60 art gauge skill, which is, I think, one of the highest art gens in the entire game from a skill. His art gets a physical res buff plus a barrier. His true art gets reducing the enemy's physical res by 100%. And then with his super art, he gets increasing his own attack and damage by 200%. So yeah, he a little strong. He a little strong in terms of the damage res that he's able to provide for the team and the damage that he's able to deal to the enemy. Not to mention too, he also has a defense slot, so he can further solidify, you know, you having tons of damage mitigation on the team. And he has amazing slots. He has a 6-star support, and if you want it, you could either go with a 4-star heal, or if you give him the LB7, you can go with a 4-star support. This guy's crazy. He's probably one of the best like tanking characters in the game, since he's this hybrid of doing tons of damage while also keeping your team safe. It's just really cool. I don't know what else to say. I like what they did with Shirou. Also, here's a fun one. If you have his true weapon, yes, his true weapon, he gives his entire team 30% DR for 20 seconds. This thing's on a 35% cooldown, by the way. And at the start of the quest, he increases his own arc gauge by 100 and skill CT. So he's self-sufficient in so many ways, and he's changing the game. Would I argue it? You know what? I'm just going to say, yeah. I would say Shirou is up there. He's borderline must-have. I wouldn't say he's completely a must-have, but borderline must-have. You need this character. I'm going to be honest. He's kind of nasty. Moving on to the next character, which is Miyu. Miyu was a character that I'm not really too excited about because I've never seen the, what's this called? It's not called Kalen, is it? There's no way it's called Kalen. I never saw that movie, so I'm not too attached to this one. But this character is practically just a damage dealer with some defense ignore capabilities and also a really strong human allies damage buff that she can provide to the team. She's a character that gets a lot of benefits in the very beginning of the quest because she's able to increase her art gauge by 10 arts per second for 120 seconds. And while she's above 80% HP, you deal 200% more arts damage, which translates to she is a crazy nuker. But that's like the main part about Miyu. She's just damage and nothing else. And since we're on the topic of damage dealers, let's talk about Salter, the other character that I am extremely hyped for. Saber Alter was another one that I was hoping they would do right. One thing that was weird to me though is that I noticed during her super art animation that whenever she uses Excalibur Morgan, she doesn't say Excalibur Morgan, she just says Excalibur. But Saber Alter is big damage, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking about Miyu doing big damage. Oh no. we haven't seen anything. Let's talk about Salter's damage. Salter, by default, has built-in crit if she's above 50% HP, and she decreases her own accuracy by 30% if you're afflicted by a status element. She's able to buff up her own attack by 25% when your HP is above 90%, and you get poison res. Why poison resist? I don't know. The skill gives you 80 art gauge if you crit, which you'll crit majority of the time. The true art is able to buff up your own damage by 100% and reduce the enemy's dark res by 70% for 30 seconds. And the super art is a massive 170% multiplier with a 60% chance to super crit. That's 3 times damage, ladies and gentlemen. She is exactly what I thought she would be. Just a character that's able to blow up any enemy in her path. She can even become stronger if you have her true weapon, True Excalibur Morgan, that's able to buff up her damage by 80% passively, her crit damage, mind you, and is able to give her 50% more damage plus 50% more attack if you use the skill on it. We might have a new queen in terms of DPS when it comes to dark nuking or just nuking in general, especially if her animations are very quick. I haven't looked at the super art too much, and I don't remember if the startup is long or not, but I don't think the startup takes too long. So yeah, we may be looking at a new queen in terms of the nuking potential here. You know, I know some people are going to gripe and be like, oh, I didn't like this character, she's trash or whatever, but they made her one of the best attackers in the game. So I wouldn't really call her trash. It's just kind of unfortunate that she's a damage dealer. And as we all know, say it with me, guys. Come on now. Damage dealers get power creep. We all know that damage dealers get power creep left and right. So who knows how long she'll hold this spot as being the queen of dark damage dealers. But for right now, she's the queen of dark damage dealers. And she's the queen in my heart because we don't have Medusa. If we had Medusa in the game, then I would be standing Medusa for the rest of my GS career. And then as for the last character that we have Chloe. If you play Fate Grand Order, you know she has a lot to live up to. A single target nuking behemoth and hit millions of damage on any boss that you throw at her. And she's kind of good, you know, a little bit good. So I was curious to see exactly what they did going into this character for the Grand Summoner's variation. And it was kind of interesting. She has a class card Archer. When a boss is broken, you increase allies' art by 200. Yeah, everybody gets 200 art gauge if you break a boss. That's pretty good. She also increases everybody's damage to broken enemies by 50%. As for the kit though, what exactly is she doing? Well, she has a lot of stuff that's able to help her break the enemy, like being able to lower the enemy's break resist by 40% with the art, being able to give your team Archgen with the true art, that's a little bit surprising, right? And break power up with the true art as well. And then with the super art, you're reducing the enemy's fire resist by 100%, and you're dealing a massive 12,000 break. This character is not so much a breaker. Well, I mean, she has a lot of breaking in the kit, right? But she's more so a support breaker, right? Where she's a support character kind of similar to Mako. You know how Mako is like the offensive support? This is what I'm getting from Chloe. Like Chloe is the breaker support. Like if you want Archgen and break power on the team and also being able to lower enemies break resist and everything else, you bring Chloe to the fight to help you break enemies or break bosses even more than just relying on her herself, which I think you could rely on her as just being the breaker if you wanted to. So this is going to be pretty interesting when it comes to break comps and break nuke comps. Since Chloe is the way she is, you won't have to rely on having like 200 art gauge as you go into the fight, like maybe just having your breaker have 200 art gauge, breaking with your breaker, for an example, like S to whoever or Duke, and then after breaking them, everybody else gets 200 art gauge to the Chloe's passive, and then you can do a break nuke like that, which, you know, may be changing up the game a little bit. Either way, I'm not writing this character off. She seems somewhat interesting, and if I get her, I definitely want to try her out and see how good she is in terms of being a breaker for herself and also supporting other breakers on her team. Yeah, that should be it. That should be all of the Fate characters in Grand Summoners JP, which means that should be the end of Fate as a crossover, which is kind of crazy. You know, here we are about a month after, you know, Fate was initially announced, and we're at the end of it, and what a crossover, man. I didn't get to experience this too much on the Japanese version. I did start a JP account, but I haven't really played on it. I've been slacking on it, been pretty busy. But everyone here is great, and me as a Fate fan, I'm pretty happy with how they all turned out. So tell me down below what you all think about them. If you guys like them or not. I think they're all pretty cracked. And now we just have to wait for them to come out to Global, which hopefully they give us a little break after Overlord, and they just don't rush straight to Fate, right? Right? They don't do that, right? Hopefully not. Either way, fam, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all for coming out. If you enjoyed this video, highly recommend check out either one of the videos popping on your screen right now. Great content. Guarantee you love them. And oh, one more thing. Don't forget to drink water.